好，那么我们就进行第二场报告会。那么我们今天的第二场报告会是东土耳其斯坦的整体形势报告会。那么本来我们议程里面有2个人发言，但是现在迪丽夏提因为签证问题没有落实下来，他没人来，那么我们只有朱白拉夏姆西丁女士。那么我先介绍一下我们优秀的夏姆西丁女士的简历对不起，刚刚翻过。好，首先呢，非常荣幸能够担任这场报告会的主持人。那么，朱白拉夏姆西丁女士是维吾尔人权项目中国外联系协调员。那么，从上世纪80年代这边开始从事促进维吾尔人权和政治自由的活动。那么在加入维吾尔人权项目之前，夏姆西丁女士在国际维吾尔人权和民主基金会担任主管、研究员和翻译。那么20多年以来，她曾效力多个澳大利亚和美国的非营利和政府组织。此外，她还在多元文化和多语言教育和社区联络方面有着丰富的经历。那么，夏姆西丁在中国上海的华东师范大学获得了图书馆信息科学的本科学位，在哈萨克斯坦西部州立大学获得了俄语和西部文学学位，在南澳洲大学获得了信息学硕士学位。此学位侧重于对维吾尔人权现代史的研究。那么，夏姆西丁女士呢，精通英文、维吾尔语、汉语、乌兹别克语和俄语，那么并掌握商务程度很高的土耳其语。那么先请我们的夏姆西丁女士发言。好，那么你的时间应该是15分钟吗？
他的时间都是他的。
时间都是他的。
就是为数的时间全是他的。
好，那么你自己掌握，因为有45分钟的时间，那么30分钟。
他能够报告20分钟。20分钟，
对，好。
大家好。我先想感谢杨建立先生，感谢公民力量邀请参加这个重要的会议，给我这个机会讲述有关东土耳其斯坦维吾尔族的处境。由于时间关系，我想用英文来讲。In fact, I'm very happy that I've had plenty of time to talk about the Uyghurs and East Turkestan. And right now, actually, I wish to take this chance to thank you, Dr. Yamjeli, our best friend. He's been always best friend to us and Gomin Lilia. And invite me to come here and speak about the Uyghur situation. And in fact, before speaking, I just prepared a PowerPoint presentation. I just wish to focus on a few questions, that's all, because if we talk, there are lots of things to talk about the Uyghur situation, and also I'm very thankful that previous speakers' overall introduction about China and the human rights situation and other situation and current condition of China. What's happening in China actually, in fact, directly affecting Uyghurs and East Turkestan. And in fact, today, as a Uyghur, I'm very happy to be here among my fellow Chinese friends, Tibetan and the Mongol friends, and other people, especially from mainland China, and who dedicate their lives for free, more human and democratic China. And before focusing on the questions, I want you to show a few pictures. And from this picture, you can see this is the street situation of Urumqi, East Turkestan, or Xinjiang, capital city of Urumqi, you can see. And this second picture is probably most people have seen it from the news that it is an announcement, in fact, distributed in Guangxi, Nanning province, in schools and also in hospitals. And this one is, in fact, a screenshot from Xinjiang TV broadcast broadcast on 14th of April 2015. And from these pictures, and you can see what's going on in East Turkestan and whether Uyghur people has political rights. And the one thing is, please go back, thank you. Back, up. No, up. Second slide, Diarga. And from these pictures you can see that one is heavy-handed suppression by Chinese government towards the Uyghurs. Diarga. And dissent. Okay. And dissent. Dissent. Okay. And one is, you can see that that's the examples of Chinese government's heavy-handed suppression towards the Uyghurs. It's arbitrary detention and arbitrary arresting, searching Uyghurs on the streets. And as long as you're Uyghur, identified as a Uyghur, you are kind of target of police anytime, anywhere on the streets, anywhere in China, in fact. And secondly, you can see that double-edged kind of propaganda information, which is first one saying that as long as you are Uyghur, you are kind of suspicious and dangerous person. Although this is announcement that distributed in Guangxi and in Chinese, and saying that the whole, you can read that from that, you can see that if anyone just sees Xinjiang people, which mostly refer to Uyghurs, they are kind of equal to dangerous people or suspects. And another picture, next, Shaiba. From this, you can see Chinese government promoting people to be united, unified. And as you can see from the top, and you have to unify. And that distribution, that propaganda, in fact, targeted to Uyghurs. And this is directly from a Uyghur TV channel that I did a screenshot. And what the information saying to Uyghurs is, you Uyghurs, you have to be united with Chinese people. So, and you have to listen to whatever government says. And you have to be united. But doesn't say, or anywhere like your previous slide saying that the Xinjiang people is suspicious or dangerous. But on the other hand, there's another, towards the Uyghurs, this is saying that you have to unify with Chinese people. I mean, that kind of double-edged information or double-edged propaganda kind of, instead of giving people, or giving both Uyghurs and the Chinese people to be unified and stand together for everyone's benefit. In fact, they try to divide everybody. They try to for the Chinese people, you have to see the Uyghurs as enemies. For Uyghur people, the Chinese or the CCP agents in East Turkestan, they are your brothers. And it's their kind of propagating relationship of big brother and the little brother relationship. Which although in the paper and all the propaganda says that you have to be unified, but in the matter of fact, in reality, it doesn't say unified. Next. And this picture, as you can see, is one is Jiang Chenshen, which is Xinjiang Communist Party secretary, and another person is Shohrat Zakir. He is a Xinjiang chairman. And these two pictures, why I shot this today is because in terms of political rights, the Uyghurs should have the rights to be elected and join in election. And they have rights to be freedom of expression. They should have rights to be freedom of political opinion. They should have rights to be representation, making decision. But however, as you can see from this picture, this Shohrat Zakir, out of blue on December 2014, the Chinese Xinhua News Agency reports that he was appointed to Xinjiang chairman. And before that, nobody knew that who is that Shohrat is. He basically doesn't represent any Uyghur. None of the Uyghur or none of the people elect this person. In fact, the CCP directly appoints him as a chairman of Uyghurs. And as you see, and also Zhang Qingshan is Xinjiang Communist Party secretary. Although he is the party secretary, but in real power is on the secretary's hand. The real decision-making process, real power, real implementing or managing whole thing is run by the secretary, party secretary. As previous speakers said, this Chinese government right now, in fact, is not just government by rule of law. In fact, it's governed by one party, which is Chinese Communist Party. So it is from top to down. It is from very bottom to very high. The governance system is definitely by one party, one system, which is Communist CCP. That's why the Zhang Qingshan is in fact real power holder of East Turkestan. The Shohrat Zakir is, you can say that he is just a puppet. It says that he's the chairman of Xinjiang, but in fact he doesn't have any power to make a decision or represent Uyghurs or tell the Chinese government even at least that, look, this is the situation of Uyghurs and what Uyghurs is being through is something else. He can't say that. Whatever party orders him to say that, he will say it. But as an example, I can say that in here you can see Ilham Tohti, Wusa and Ai Weiwei. These pictures. And because of that one-party dictatorship system in East Turkestan and a heavy-handed suppression towards the Uyghurs, and from every sphere of Uyghur life is under suppression, and the Uyghurs, they don't enjoy any kind of political rights. And one of the person who came up from Uyghurs was Ilham Tohti. He's an economist, and he tried to explain the situation, East Turkestan situation, to the government. However, unfortunately, as everybody knows, just because of his opinion and his great suggestion, if Chinese government understands it, and that that scholar, in fact, he just shut it up forever, he locked it up forever. But despite all this kind of propaganda, everything, you can see that there are still some people, our friends, who sympathize and understands the Uyghur situation, and definitely stood with them, with Ilham Tohti, but still, because of the current Chinese government's heavy-handed suppression and the policy, again, whatever Ilham Tohti said is not heard from the government. Instead, he is just locked up forever. And also, I had this picture. He is a journalist from Shanghai, and he was wearing Uyghur Dobra and kind of expressing his solidarity towards the Uyghur situation, what's going on there, and which is very good despite all this negative propaganda about Uyghurs, and in fact negative propaganda about Uyghurs, especially among Chinese population. But still, there are people out there who understanding, who sympathize with the Uyghur situation, which is one of them is this journalist from Shanghai. And the second topic is I just wish to touch upon about the Uyghur economy and Uyghur culture and religious bits. And in here you can see, I just took this picture as an example. As you know, economically, as you know, East Turkestan is rich in natural gas and oil. According to statistics, the proven reserve is 2.5 billion tons of oil and 700 billion cubic meters of natural gas. And also, East Turkestan has great agricultural, cotton, fruit, and herding, everything, which is rich of natural resources. And also, despite of that rich resources and every other things, but the Uyghurs' life is, we can say, it's very low kind of situation. And sorry, just a sec. And this, I just got this quote to everybody to say, because as you can hear right now, you hear lots of news about terrorism. Uyghurs are terrorists, Uyghurs are bad people, Uyghurs are everything. But despite all this negative propaganda, but you can see that some people are still expressing their opinion, even within China, in social media, saying that, okay, you saying that Xinjiang people are bad, Uyghurs are terrorists, Uyghurs are everything. Whatever you say about the negative, bad things about Uyghurs, they are just bad. But however, let's say, why are you saying then Xinjiang, the petrol is 中国石油, 新疆的天然气叫中国天然气, 新疆的矿产叫中国矿产. 那么为什么就不找新疆的恐怖主义者、中国恐怖分子? I mean, although this is kind of funny one way, but it tells something how people think. You know, no matter how the Chinese government is saying about the situation in East Turkestan is very bad. But I never question government that all the bad situation is coming from because of the government policy. Just the blaming for whatever bad is of Uyghurs. But still, there are questions that why this is happening. Anyway, please move to next. And also, in terms of economic situation, although the East Turkestan has such rich resources in oil, gas, everything, but discrimination in different sites is very heavy. Like, for example, employment discrimination, definitely racial discrimination, and many other discrimination you can say, touch upon in later on. And in here, especially in terms of economics, I just wish to say that this is one employment announcement, and it was it's just that it was in Hotan. You know, it's announced in Hotan. They're saying that they need help, but they don't need Uyghurs for employment. Yeah, next. And in terms of economy, and you can see about the economic wealth distribution and GDP in Xinjiang. Like, in fact, northern Xinjiang is more urbanized, and the primary location of natural resource extraction industry predominantly Han Chinese, and predominantly rural and agrarian. The southern contains a majority of Uyghur population. And you can see significant disparities in per capita between southern prefecture and the northern prefecture in Xinjiang. In 2005, well, this one is 2011, but in 2005, that's according to statistics. And Karamai in the north, with 7% Han Chinese population, recorded a per capita GDP of $7,250 as compared to a per capita GDP of $320 in Khotan, with a population that is 97% is Uyghur. And also, in fact, the western regions, which is whole region, constituting 71% land mass, over 28% of total populations, accounts for only 17% of China's GDP. And also, in East Turkestan, primarily focused on natural resources and the infrastructure required to transport in from west to east. State investment poured into the north. The Chinese government subsidized the regional budget by nearly $60 billion from 2000 to 2010. Again, encouraging Chinese migration as a contracted private companies, and SOEs preferred Han Chinese employees. And again, in terms of economic distribution and development, there never has been any consultation with the local people, with the local Uyghurs. Always the decision is from the top, and decision-making process there are no involvement of any locals, any Uyghurs. And in fact, what Ilham Tohti said before was about everything, the economic situation of the Uyghur, the social as well as cultural situation of Uyghurs. Exactly what he said was, what's in East Turkestan? It's nothing that he has created, nothing new that he has invented. All he said was, this is the situation, the government should be watch closely about improving really the Uyghurs' life, Uyghur economic condition, Uyghurs' political rights, religious rights, and cultural rights. Just because of what he said, what's going on in East Turkestan, and that's what happened to him. So you can see there are no expression of any opinion, no expression of freedom, nothing for Uyghurs. And although there are lots of investment in Western development, this project, but none of them has benefited Uyghurs. And especially in employment opportunities in terms of that one, if you are Han Chinese, you have employment, but if you are Uyghur, there is nothing for you. But that was reported in other media as well. Okay, this is just a brief economic situation. And now let's talk about culture. In terms of culture, cultural discrimination is very heavy and strict towards the Uyghurs. As you can, probably you have heard and you read recent news that just because of Uyghur women just wearing scarf sentenced for 2 years jail. And just a man growing beard for sentenced 6 years jail. And more than that, the most importantly, demolishing Kashgar was another serious and also terrible offense towards the Uyghur culture as well. Although the older Kashgar may be seen by CCP as a kind of mother houses or whatever, but for Uyghurs, it is the kind of essence of Uyghur culture and the heritage of Uyghur culture. The demolition Kashgar, in fact, shows that it is not just demolished a place. It is completely demolished a historic site and a historic the cultural heritage of the Uyghurs. Sorry. And after demolishing and definitely forced relocations happened, and forcefully removing Uyghurs from different places has happened. And add on that, they just isolated, built little place and made a tourism place. And again, that tourism was controlled by a company called Zhongkun. Again, the benefit goes to Chinese company. And another serious matter that rights violation of what CCP is doing is the bilingual education policy. The saying that the bilingual education, in fact, it sounds very nice because you become a bilingual. But in the matter of fact, what they're doing is completely monolingual, assimilating Uyghurs. That, again, Uyghurs see one of the huge, heavy attack towards Uyghur identity because Uyghur culture and religion is the main part of Uyghur identity. And just, okay, like for example, you can see even from that classroom picture, they're saying that that speech competition in Chinese language starts from motherland in my heart. I mean, if they truly wanted to teach bilingual language or just Chinese, it could have been started with something else. At least who this person is. Anyway, you can see that the bilingual education, in fact, again, it is another way of assimilation. Next, please. And another very destructive, the saying that the wording of Wang Lechen, what he said is, the Uyghur language is backward, but it doesn't comply with modernity, which is saying that out of step of the 21st century. That's very offensive. But I always wonder whether Wang Lechen knows Uyghur language, that would be able to judge that whether Uyghur language is out of step or not comply with modernism. I really wish to ask Ramon Legend about if he can say a few words in Uyghur or speak in Uyghur, that whether he would be able to judge that language is whether modern is not modern. So that kind of thing, you can see that it's clearly it's attack on Uyghur identity. Next. And the last one is about the religion. Definitely, all people in here know about what's going on in East Turkestan, especially in terms of religion, as well as in Tibet and the Mongolia in this old area. But religion was another CCP's target of crackdown. However, I really want to have this quote because for most of Uyghurs, the paramount issue is not religion per se, but the perceived threat that religious repression poses to the distinct identity. Because every Uyghur, no matter that person is, whether you can even ask from drunk Uyghur that, are you Uyghur? That person would say, yes, I'm Uyghur as well as I'm Muslim. I mean, yes, the Uyghurs are kind of not really devoted Muslims sometimes, but no matter what any Uyghurs identify themselves, they never alienate themselves with Islam and Muslim, that identity. So in fact, what the Chinese government right now doing, attacking on religion of Uyghurs, is in fact attacking on Uyghur identity, because they knew the Uyghurs never alienate themselves from religion. Religion, the faith, is one of the part of Uyghur identity. Again, this is from a screenshot from the Xinjiang TV, and this is the illegal religious activities, 26 types of illegal religious activities thing. And this is very interesting to me, because how would you judge that one has 26 types of FIFA, illegal religious activity, something, because people can change. People can be different from one place to another. And, you know, maybe today is perfect, loyal CCP Uyghur, next day could be something else from what they say in here. Could be today just walking on the street, Uyghur, next day could be criminal. So from that you can see that from religious aspect, linguistic aspects, economic, everything, the Chinese government just tried to make or see or portray their Uyghurs as a criminals. No matter what, as long as you're a Uyghur, you're a criminal, because you have such and such types of criminal book, or illegal religious activities, or such and such type of clothes types that you're wearing, which is not suitable to CCP's uniform kind of requirement that you're wearing clothes. So, anyway, the Chinese government tried to legitimize whatever repression they're doing towards the Uyghurs in many ways, that just saying that the Uyghur, you are just a criminal, making them the enemies of the state. Next. And in terms of religion, again, you can see this science is publicly displayed in East Turkestan. You can read it from here. They're saying that you can't go to Hajj. You have to be with the group. And also, if you are not 18 years old, you are not allowed to go to the mosque. I mean, especially people who believes in God or believes in something, faithful people. Imagine, whenever you want to be religious, it's your decision and it's in your heart. I don't understand why, how you could regulate one's belief or when they want to practice religion and when they don't. And this again clearly sees that they try to assimilate Uyghurs, and the Chinese government tried to keep Uyghurs away from religion so they can easily brainwash, doctrine what CCP wants them to be. Okay, due to time, I just wish to come to the conclusion. And Chinese government, Chinese government, CCP currently keeps saying that we have to keep stability, and we have to be stable. But for becoming stable, for becoming in peace, but you have to offer peace. You have to make people stable, feel stable. But right now, none of the Uyghurs feel stable, even feel safe. In walking on the street, talking, even thinking, because everything is controlled by the government. as previous speakers also highlighted. And again, whatever happens to Uyghurs, it's again they try to blame Uyghurs for that. Never ever the Chinese government asked themselves, have we done anything wrong? Have we ever talked with these local people what they think, what they want, what they wish? What do they want to do? So that's why I would say that the root cause of the problem is CCP. Their heavy-handed oppression towards the Uyghurs, and instead of they treating Uyghurs as can be one of the best contributors towards whole China's peace and development and prosperity, they're seeing them as enemies. Thank you.
感谢，那用了30分钟，大概用了30分钟啊，那么就先感谢非常精彩的发言，真的，但是呢，由于英文发言和主持人呢没有听懂我的英文，那个同时翻译呢，那个好像效果也不好。但没事，因为我看到了很多跟西藏的一模一样的很多画面，那么这些太熟悉了，比如招聘启事，那么在新疆发生的，西藏都在发生。那么比如像团结稳定是福，那么分裂动乱是祸，那么到西藏各地到处都看到这些标语，那么在新疆都看到。但是呢，我们都看到的是新疆越来越不稳定，西藏越来越不稳定。那么问题出在哪里？习近平的中国梦，那么民族问题这么重申，那么也拿不出一个解决的方案。那么这我认为我们应该大家都想提问的一些非常敏感的议题。因此呢，我就不占用很多时间，那么我先把提问的时间交给大家。那么我们还是用15分钟的时间，那么请大家提问。开始。
我想先说一下关于我们这个翻译器的问题。我们现在刚刚发现，它这个我们这个无线麦和那个翻译机的频道是有互相intersect 的，所以说希望如果需要中翻译或英翻译的朋友，请如果需要那个翻译器的，请到那边的房间。So we have a frequency interception between the wireless mic and the translation device. So pretty much the receiver of this room is interrupting the signal on this side of the room. So if you need the device, please go to the other side of the room for the better signals.
Excuse me, just the one thing. In fact, due to my other colleague Dilshat, because of his visa issue, he wasn't able to come and join me today. But I'm very happy to invite my other colleague Dolphin Isa for joining me in Q&A session. Please, if everyone wants.
My name is Bert Wise. I'm counsel to Initiatives for China, and in that job, I've tried to explain much less well some of what you presented so well, but particularly in the tremendous concern in America about terrorism, now even more with ISIL and so forth. Have you found any positive response from our government in explaining and getting them to agree about Beijing's propaganda that the Uyghur movement is all about Islamic terrorism? Do you get any positive support or response from the U.S. government, or do they just seem to go along with China's propaganda?
From my knowledge, so far, U.S. government although didn't openly express the opinion, but so far they believe in Uyghur movement is peaceful and very supportive about Uyghur movement.
Yes, the Chinese government unfortunately accused all the Uyghur movement as a terrorist movement. Even you write poem or write some article or really doing some violence or some other. Yeah, for example, I'm one of the example, I can say. I'm the number 3, one of the top terrorists on the Chinese list. Yeah. China 2003, first time announced 11 Uyghur organization, or 11 Uyghur people, and 4 Uyghur organizations as a terrorist organization. You know. One is East Turkestan Islamic Movement. Okay, U.S. also, government also accepts this as a terrorist organization, but where is this organization basically? What's this activities? We don't know. But, and U.S. government also called terrorist organization, but later, if I'm not wrong, and removed this name of this list. And the second is East Turkestan Liberation Organization and the World Uyghur Youth Congress. That time I was the president of this organization. Basically, Germany is legal organization in Germany, but China accused the terrorist organization, and East Turkestan Information Center. And my name also number 3 on this list, official. I'm the official terrorist of the Chinese eyes, you know. That's why, and my name is the Interpol list still. That's why this morning is opening, I already talking, because of this influence, I couldn't enter Turkey, US, and for a couple of years. Yeah. But finally, we success. So, unfortunately, I have never seen real gun or real bomb in my life. I never touched. I just saw it in a film, you know. But my name was one of the top terrorists. It is the example. Yeah, this is the example. But at the beginning, of course, we had a lot of some barriers, some problem faced some international area. But lately, is every people and mostly is United Nations regularly attends UN Human Rights Council's meeting in European Parliament as US Congress. Then they realized and we didn't get any problem like this. Yeah, this is the situation. Thank you.
我们呢，这个新疆，我们看到啊，知道信息啊，新疆啊和这个老百姓啊人民和我们汉族的人民，同样受到专制制度的这个压迫害啊。那新疆的人民呢，老百姓呢，采取了一种抗争，就是说啊，因为他们受到的压迫可能更深重啊，那么他们的反抗也就更激烈。 那么采取了一种我们看到一些暴力事件暴力事件发生，那么发生以后，他们受到的迫害就更严重，就是你越反抗越激烈，那么迫害就越严重，那么死伤人数很多我们都感到很痛心。那么我们都知道有曼德拉还有甘地就是我们要如果在新疆提倡这种和平的、非暴力的。 当然方法很多那么就是完全倡导这种方式，可行性，大家觉得就是说就是请二位说会感觉效果比暴力好呢，还是暴力是必须的选择，还是说这个和平的非暴力的推动效果好，成本低，就是这两种选择。 我不反对这个革命我也从来表示我不主张革命，但我也不反对革命，因为你们受到的痛苦太多了。但是我想请教二位的态度。
Okay, I think I understood that your question has 2 sections. One is that you're hearing that lots of terrorist activities that are coming out from East Turkestan or Xinjiang, and just because of the Xinjiang, the Uyghur people suffered too much and they just couldn't stand, and they said just had enough and they're fighting for it. And from my understanding, that's the first section, that's how I understood. And secondly, you set an example of Nelson Mandela, a peaceful, how we can just achieve our goals in a peaceful way. And I just wish to answer your first section of the question. And in terms of information coming out about the Uyghur terrorism, and it depends who is reporting it. And so far, we didn't see any evidence that the Uyghurs did any terrorist activity in East Turkestan. Whatever report that we had from East Turkestan about terrorism is everything comes out from the official Guanfang, Xinxi, official media. And they said, like for example, recently something has happened in Hotan, and yeah, few Uyghurs killed. Most of the time, the killed Uyghurs are all the Uyghurs, and the few policemen never said. We just don't know exact number of killed. Who instigate the violence? Who did what? And again, saying that those Uyghurs were carrying a knife. And definitely, the military, the Chinese military, definitely they were carrying very modern, well-developed weapons. And just, I don't understand exactly personally that there is no information, no verification. Who did what has happened. And as a research organization, according to our reports, and many times we ask the question saying that, look, you saying there are terrorist activity in Xinjiang, the Uyghurs are standing against Chinese government suppression with violence. But please, just to show the evidence that what they have done to you. Is that the terrorism initiated by well-modernized, great developed weaponry by Chinese police, Wuqing or Tricing or whatever? Or the very, it has kind of backward weapons, which is knife or something that by those civilians. Who's doing the terrorism? That's my question, if anyone knows, or anyone has seen anywhere that clear evidence is saying that what's happening. And secondly, about your example of Nelson Mandela, definitely we are Uyghurs also admire of Nelson Mandela. Definitely the holiness of Dalai Lama. Definitely, that's why we are here for today, to come up with something peaceful so we can work together, bring peace, real freedom for all people. Definitely that includes Uyghurs, Tibetans, Mongols, and the Chinese people.
I have nothing to say. The way I already answered questions. There's one point, I come to take your attention. Yes, a lot of violence was happening recently because of the pressure. And but Chinese called immediately Chinese government terrorist activities. Same violence in China, some of the Chinese province, then never say it is terrorism. If something is happening in Turkestan, immediately no investigation, no reason. Immediately next day is Foreign Ministry or Xinhua agency immediately calls terrorist activity. It's a so quick judgment. It is different. And for the violence, of course, go to the Congress, and the Uyghur movement is peaceful movement. We are against all kinds of violence and terrorist activities. We call the Chinese government to the dialogue, always. Now, we believe through the dialogue, we can talk, we can solve the problem. But China government say, I have weapon, I have power, I can do anything what I want. That's why never listen to the Uyghurs' voice, just use the violence and want to crack down the Uyghur movement. But it's not possible. Chinese government should understand this. First they accept this problem, then should be improve or change the policy towards the Uyghur. Then it can be achieve the purpose. Thank you.
台湾的王兴忠。
我有一个建议，还有一个问题。建议就是说，我觉得就是包括台湾在内，因为在中文的媒体里面很少看到你们的声音。那中国媒体的影响比较大。那西方媒体有的时候好像也被中国的报道牵着走。那所以但是台湾是一个比较容易让你们的声音传到华人社会的一个管道。那所以我建议你们可以多利用台湾的这些资源，能够经常到让你们的讯息能够经常在台湾能够看得到。那我们目前在这个会议前2年在台湾举行过之后，台湾已经现在有Friends of Uyghur，有一些朋友在工作，但是非常困难，中文的资讯很少。 然后要去推广这些活动也不容易，特别是在台湾，有很多西藏朋友，但是很少有维吾尔的朋友，所以我们也更难去办这些的活动。那所以就是可能需要你们能够多能够注意一下怎么样把中文的讯息，或者我们也可以帮助你们把讯息可以中文化，这是一个建议。然后另外一个问题就是说，在前面几次的会议，我们也看到那个安华医师，他也曾经给我们看过那个就是那个核子试爆，核武器造成的一些影响。那好像我刚才在您的报告里头没有注意到这方面的讯息。那这个问题是不是仍然很严重？那因为我们在台湾有很多朋友也很关心这个问题。
那个是我的建议，给它放到环境保护的那一段上去讲。
感谢。
这一段就没有讲，明天就发啊，明天他就这是我们的安排。
感谢Thank you very much. This is a great suggestion. In fact, you remind me of something by asking the questions, especially about the information about Uyghur situation distributed among Chinese speakers. If you don't mind, young man, who is controlling the PowerPoint? Excuse me, Daniel, do you mind open up that website as well as the Twitter site that I showed you before? Thank you. This is really great. In fact, that's what we're trying to do as well in here from Washington, D.C. The Uyghur Human Rights Project. Can you please open the website as well?
Oh, yes, it is.
This is Twitter site. There is a
the website
as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in Chenchang. I think 网站在。
对，我在看，
左边看左边。
对啊，这是吹的，这是吹的，再往下。Oh, it's right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go there. Anyway, I just wish to briefly introduce this website as well as the treaty site. This was initiated by Uyghur Human Rights Project. We were in Chenchammo, here from Washington, D.C. The point is exactly what you said. We really want to communication between Chinese-speaking Chinese community as well as Uyghurs. And we established this website as well as through all social media, and we have Facebook page as well to communicate in Chinese language. Definitely, we need people like you and our friends in Taiwan who distribute as much as possible whatever have in here, especially the reports that we produce. And we have English version of this site as well, but we had the Chinese one. It's been about a year now, not even a year. And what we're trying to do is reach out Chinese public as much as possible, whether they are in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, in mainland China, even better. And I'm really glad that some Chinese people came from mainland. Thank you. I really admire your bravery, and it's not easy for you to come all the way from mainland China and to be in this meeting. And that's why this is a website, and also the Twitter site, if you wish to follow the next one. Daniel, I'm sorry. And we try to update daily basis and both all social sites as well as this website to reach out. I mean, thank you very much. After the meeting, definitely I wish to communicate with you. And in terms of just to mention about a nuclear test report, and we have one Uyghur expert who lives in London, Britain, and because I'm not really expert in this area, I don't really know. That's why I didn't say much about it, because one day maybe we have another chance to meet Tohti to talk about his expertise.
最后一个提问啊，西藏政策研究院院长，特别上辈子，麦克风。
Oh. Yeah, can we use this one?
strong enough for you to hear me. So, thank you. Thank you very much for a wonderful and very concise presentation of the struggle of the Uyghur people. I've learned a lot. What my question is about is that please give us a sense of the internal debate that is going on within the Uyghur community about the goal of the Uyghur struggle. Is it cultural autonomy, or do you want independence? For example, with the Tibet, our overall goal of our struggle is the middle way approach, which does not seek independence, but which tries to find space for Tibet and the Tibetan people within the framework of the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. So please give us a sense of the debate that is going on within the Uyghur community about the goal of your struggle.
Whatever I speak in here is, I definitely represent myself and also the, bit of organization that I'm working in. But personally, as a Uyghur, definitely I wish my people to be free first. And as I am Uyghur, also suffered from my childhood, from my family as well. And we never see any freedom or any kind of happiness while the Uyghurs lived over 60 years of CCP rule in East Turkestan. I remember my childhood that at that time we had to be very cautious of going to school, saying something, even saying about what our parents are doing at home, because we can be, anything can happen just next day, because it's just kind of war zone, it's kind of the very precautious lifestyle. And our parents suffered in the 50s because of they were de jure landlord or, another anti-revolutionary, or people who has two hearts, which has connections overseas. And then time to time, it came to 80s, had a little bit, because of the Deng Xiaoping, that open up policy, had a little bit of freedom. And soon with that freedom, people start to speak up a little bit. Came to 90s, against suppression, because of you said few words and you got a suppression. If you're not free, nothing is going to happen. But for me, you have to be free first. And again, secondly, I don't represent whole Uyghurs in East Turkestan. Our people, the Uyghurs mainly living in East Turkestan. I live because we try to work for bring democracy, bring freedom, bring liberty for oppressed people. So when people feel free, feel confident to talk, don't afraid to talk whatever they want to talk, then they can decide what they want to do. That's what I believe.
Yeah, it's very important and a difficult question also. Yeah, actually, I can talk the position of the World Uyghur Congress for this. And World Uyghur Congress, our position, we need self-determination rights for the East Turkestan, for Uyghur people. Political future for the Uyghurs and East Turkestan should not be determined by the CCP or Chinese government. This political future should be determined by the East Turkestan people themselves. That's why World Uyghur Congress we demand the self-determination right for this.
Yes. 由于时间的原因，我们不得不中断这个研讨会。那么，这里感谢我们的夏木希丁女士，还有我们世界维吾尔大会执行主席多鲁坤、艾莎先生。那么，向杨主席报告，我用我的主持人的特殊权利，给维吾尔5分钟，多5分钟的时间。那么等一会儿我们的报告由维吾尔的主持，那么希望你们照顾我们多5分钟。谢谢。那么下面是我们的茶歇时间10分钟。那么我们现在是3点半，那么就3点过40分。 然后大家准时进场，谢谢。好，顺利完成任务。